You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin.
I heard the sound of her truck tires crunching into the driveway just after 11. Headlights sliced through the front window blinds, slow and deliberate, like she wanted to make sure I was still up. She'd been gone 4 days at that damn construction expo in Nashville. We'd argued the morning she left. Me asking why she had to go in person when most companies were pulling back from travel, and her snapping back that I never supported her ambition. Classic Kara move. Twist my concern into an insult. But when she walked through that door, something felt off. I couldn't put my finger on it right away, but it hit like static in the air. "Killed it," she said, practically bouncing in. "Guess who landed a state contract for highway beautification?" She looked like she'd just walked off a magazine cover. Hair done differently, straighter, darker. New jeans, snug, expensive. Not her usual work boots and ponytail. And she smelled like some floral stuff I'd never noticed before. Perfume? Kara hated strong scents. "Big win, huh?" I said, watching her. I didn't get up. She was acting like she'd just come back from a spa weekend, not a packed expo. "Massive," she said, tossing her bag by the stairs. "We networked like crazy. I'm wiped." She didn't look wiped. She looked charged. Before we go further, quick note. Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. She moved past me, tossed off her jacket, and beelined toward the stairs. "I need a shower," she said, not even glancing at me. "Bad. Wait. Thought you were exhausted?" "I am," she said, not missing a beat. "But I feel gross. You know how those expos are, sweaty handshakes, crappy air." Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. She glanced at it but didn't touch it. Then it buzzed again. Then again. Not texts. Notifications. Messaging app? Could have been anything. But 3 in under 10 seconds? "You're not gonna check that?" She shrugged. "It's probably just group chat stuff. I'll deal with it later." I didn't say anything, just watched her head upstairs. Her whole vibe was wrong. She was too bright, like someone flipping on lights in an empty room. The woman who left 4 days ago was worn out, annoyed, barely talking to me. This one, energized, polished, distant. A couple minutes later, I heard the shower running. Her phone buzzed again. I picked it up. Nothing on the lock screen. No names. Just, "New message." I set it back exactly how I found it. I wasn't ready to start digging. Not yet. But I wasn't stupid either. That woman who walked through the door? That wasn't my wife. Upstairs, the shower was still running. But then I heard something else. Soft talking. At first I thought she was on the phone. But when I stepped into the hallway and leaned closer to our bedroom door, I realized she was trying to keep her voice low. Too low. "No," I said, "I'm home now. Yeah, it was fine." I opened the door without knocking. Kara jumped, spun around on the edge of the bed with her phone half hidden behind her thigh. The bathroom steam poured out behind her. She hadn't even stepped in yet. "Who are you talking to?" I asked. She blinked fast, then smiled too quickly. "Oh, just Jared. I was leaving him a quick voicemail about that drainage bid. Didn't want to forget." "You leave voicemails while the shower's running?" She shrugged. "Multitasking." Her tone was light, but her hand went to her neck like she was trying to cover something. I nodded, didn't push, just walked past her, grabbed a shirt from the dresser, and opened the top drawer on my side without thinking. There it was, wedged into the corner like trash. A crumpled motel receipt. Sycamore Hollow Inn. 1 queen bed, 2 nights. Check-in Thursday, check-out Saturday. That wasn't the Hyatt she said her company booked for the expo. I held it up. "What's this?" Kara didn't even look for a second. Then she stood and took it from my hand like it was no big deal. "Oh, that? Paperwork. We stopped at a smaller spot outside the city for a client thing. I must have thrown it in your drawer when I unpacked." "You didn't unpack," I said. "You just walked in the door an hour ago." She paused, then gave me this tired laugh. "You're right. I meant when I was sorting receipts. God, I'm fried." She kissed my cheek and said she needed to shower before she passed out. I stood in the hallway while she finally stepped under the water. And I waited. Next day, I walked out to her truck while she was inside folding laundry. Said I was grabbing a wrench from the garage but circled to the driver's side and opened her center console. Glove box was locked, but that middle compartment? She never bothered with it. Mixed in with pens, gum wrappers, and a receipt for gas, there was a folded paper tucked behind a notebook. It was a parking stub. Golden Pines Lodge. Friday night. Exit 92 off I-40. Over an hour from the Expo Center. Time stamped 7:14 p.m. Kara told me she had a supplier dinner that night in downtown Nashville. Casual Mexican spot, nothing fancy. I'd even asked her how the tacos were, just to see if she was paying attention. She said they were dry but cheap. Golden Pines Lodge wasn't anywhere near Mexican food. I took photos of both, the Sycamore Hollow receipt and the lodge parking stub, angled the papers exactly how I found them, then shut the console. No shaking hands. No pacing around the driveway like some sitcom husband catching clues. Just cold, quiet confirmation that whatever was going on, it wasn't in my head. Back inside, she was on the couch pretending to scroll Instagram, blanket over her legs. I sat across from her and watched. She didn't meet my eyes, just kept tapping the screen like she was real interested in some stranger's garden beds. No big fight. No screaming. Not yet. But I wasn't gonna wait around like a fool while she ran two separate lives. She'd slipped, and now I had proof. The next morning, I logged into our joint bank account from my phone, while she was in the kitchen making a smoothie like we were some picture-perfect couple. I didn't want to be sneaky, but at this point, she'd already made that choice for both of us. The charges were all there, plain as day. Hilltop Inn and Spa, $489. Not cheap. Not part of the company budget either, considering Kara had just gone on a rant last month about how her firm was tightening the belt on all travel expenses. Said they were only approving basic motels, nothing fancy. Strict per diem, she told me. Then what the hell was she doing at Hilltop? I scrolled back 2 days. Rustic Gold Jewelers, $312. 75. Clicked the receipt. Thank God for digital records. It was a bracelet. Sterling silver, gold trim, engraved. K and Z. Not even trying to hide it. K and Z. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the screen like maybe I read it wrong. Kara doesn't even wear jewelry to work. Hell, she barely wears her wedding ring when she's on job sites. This wasn't work-related. This wasn't for a client. This was personal. I looked toward the doorway and heard her laughing at something on her phone. Probably sending memes to Jared or pretending she was busy with invoices. I snapped screenshots of both charges, saved them in a hidden album on my phone, and closed the banking app. Didn't say a word. That afternoon, I waited. I didn't press her. Just watched the little ticks and cracks show through. The long pauses before she answered. The way she kept her phone face down, even when she was charging it. Later that night, I brought up the Nashville trip again, just to see if she'd shift her story. Y'all stay at the Hyatt again? I asked casually. She didn't even blink. Yep, same one near the Expo Center. You know the one. I nodded. Thought your company was cutting back on travel. They are, she said, not missing a beat. We split rooms. I bunked with Tasha. That was lie number 2. Tasha had left the company in June. She didn't know I knew that. You got anything coming up next week? She kept stirring her tea. Yeah, site visit in Chattanooga. Big commercial job. We're doing a walkthrough Thursday through Sunday. Quick, clean, like she'd already rehearsed it. Staying over? She nodded. Couple nights. Probably won't be back until late Sunday. I let the silence hang. She didn't even flinch. That's when I realized something. I wasn't going to catch her in a moment of panic. There wasn't going to be a slip-up with tears and guilt and some messy confession. She was too smooth, too used to it, and I was done giving her the benefit of the doubt. Let her keep lying. Let her think I was still clueless. I'd seen enough to know I wasn't dealing with one bad decision or some emotional lapse. This was a pattern. She'd planned this, and I was about to do the same. I didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, She got up before me, said she was sore from too much walking around job sites, and needed a long, hot shower. I waited until I heard the water hit the tile, then went downstairs and grabbed her phone off the kitchen counter. She never left it unlocked, but I knew the passcode. Our dog's birthday. I tapped it in 0729. Unlocked. First stop, messages. Nothing. Literally nothing. Jared, Tasha, her boss, even me. Every thread was clean like a freshly wiped plate. No group chat. No missed calls. No photos sent. She'd cleared it all. I almost put the phone down. But then I saw a little icon in her folder labeled Utilities. Inside was a loan app I'd never seen before. SideTalk. Black background, yellow speech bubble icon. Looked like a dumb off-brand texting app, probably meant for privacy. My stomach dropped before I even opened it. One active thread. Zane. I tapped it. There it was. Zane. Made the reservation. Golden Lanterns got the same room open. Fireplace and all. Kara. Perfect. Can't wait to get out of town. Chattanooga's safer anyway. Safer. For what? Cheating in peace. I kept scrolling. Kara. I hate lying to Ethan, but you know I have to until things are settled. Zane. I get it. I want this to be real too. You're not the only one waiting. Kara. Soon. Soon. The worst part wasn't the flirting. It wasn't even the cheap emojis or stupid heart texts. It was how normal they sounded. Like this wasn't new. Like this wasn't a fling. They were making plans. Talking about moving. Sharing photos of cabin rentals. And not once, did she mention regret. I took screenshots. Every message. Every timestamp. Saved them all and sent them to a hidden email I used for an old side gig. Covered my tracks. Deleted the sent log. Closed the app. The shower was still going. I locked her phone and placed it right back where it was on the counter. Same angle. Same little smear on the screen from her thumb. She came down 15 minutes later in leggings and a hoodie, towel over her head, smiling like she didn't just spend 3 nights planning a future with another man. Coffee? She asked, breezing past me. Yeah, I said. Make it strong. She didn't notice anything. That's when I realized she really thought I'd never catch on. She thought I was that guy. The quiet, dependable one who'd rather keep peace than ask questions. Let her think that, because now I wasn't guessing. I wasn't wondering. I knew, and I had every message I needed to burn this thing down. That same afternoon, I texted Ben from the auto shop. Asked him if his buddy Rick still did side work. He texted back 5 minutes later. Yeah, but he's low-key. Cash only. You need him? Yeah. We met at a diner on the edge of town. Place with vinyl booths and burnt coffee. Rick looked like every blue-collar guy you'd pass at a gas station. Mid-40s, quiet, eyes that didn't miss much. I brought a manila folder with everything inside: screenshots, receipts, timestamps, even the motel parking stub and the SideTalk threads I'd printed out. Rick flipped through the pages slow and careful, like he was used to sorting lies from facts. You want a full log? He asked. Photos, dates, locations. I want to know where she goes, who she meets, what time she leaves and gets back. He nodded. Discreet's not a problem. If she changes up her car or meets off the main road, I'll still catch it. You expecting overnight stuff? Yeah, she's got a trip planned next week. Says it's a client install in Chattanooga. Rick smirked. Yeah, sure it is. I slid a few hundred in cash across the table. He didn't count it, just tucked it in his jacket. Start Thursday morning. Follow her until Sunday night. I said. I want everything. You'll get it. Back home, Kara was in the backyard pretending to weed the flower bed she barely touched all summer. I stood in the doorway, watched her for a second, then walked out holding 2 beers. She took one like nothing was wrong. I was thinking, I said, we should do something. Just us. She looked up. Like what? Maybe a couple's retreat. That place in Asheville, Blue Ridge something. Weekend away. Disconnect. She blinked, then smiled. That sounds amazing. But I can't. I tilted my head. Why not? We've got that multi-day install. Big commercial client. We're doing lighting, hardscape, the works. When? Same weekend. Thursday to Sunday. Of course it was. I didn't push it. Just sipped my beer and nodded like it was no big deal. Next time then, I said. Yeah, next time, she said, already turning back to her fake weeding. There was no next time. There was no install. No client. No work truck full of mulch and pavers. There was just Zane. And in 5 days, I'd have the proof to bury this whole damn act. Rick texted me Friday at 6:12 p.m. Sharp. Got movement. Left town around 4:30. Followed her to Barlow. Barlow was 30 minutes west. Quiet little spot off the main highway with a few antique shops, one gas station, and a strip of mom-and-pop restaurants. Nothing corporate. Nothing anyone would pick for a business dinner. 15 minutes later, another message came through. There at Bill's Smokehouse. Booth by the window. You're gonna want to see this. Then the photos rolled in. Kara sitting across from a tall guy, late 30s maybe, sandy hair, slight gut, wide grin like he didn't have a care in the world. Her face lit up, big smile, leaning in, hand on his wrist like she couldn't stand to be apart for even a second. Second photo, he fed her a bite of brisket. Third, her hand wrapped in his under the table. I couldn't even get her to hold hands in public unless we were on vacation. Rick sent one more message. Confirmed. That's Zane Hughes. Regional manager, Green Rock Landscaping. Divorced. No kids. Lives alone. This ain't his first time with her. Saw them at the Shell station together 2 weeks back, but wasn't sure until now. I stared at the screen, fists clenched around the edge of the kitchen counter. My eyes didn't blink for maybe a full minute. Zane. There it was. A name with a face. Not just screenshots or receipts, now it was real. They stayed at the restaurant for an hour and a half. Laughed their way through ribs, cornbread, and 2 bourbons each. Rick even caught a shot of her reaching across the table and wiping his mouth with a damn napkin like some Hallmark wife. Around 8:15, Kara texted me. Running late. Still negotiating with the supplier. Dinner's dragging. Be home around 10. Take your time, I wrote back. She had no idea. I cracked a beer, sat on the back deck, and watched the sun dip behind the trees like nothing was different. But inside, something had shifted. I wasn't angry, not in the yelling, throwing punches kind of way. It was a cold, steady rage that sat deep in my chest like a rock. At 9:56, I heard her truck pull in. She walked through the door like she'd come straight from a boardroom. Tucked in blouse, hair tied up, folder under one arm like she'd actually been crunching numbers all night. Hey babe, she said, kissing my cheek. Sorry I'm late. Bid dinner ran long. The supplier's kind of a talker. I said, eyes on the TV. Hope it went well. Yeah, we're close to locking it in. Would be huge for the company. I nodded like I believed her, like I didn't have 9 high-res shots on my phone of her feeding pulled pork to a man with a wedding ring tan and a barbecue stain on his collar. She sat next to me on the couch, pulled off her boots, stretched like she was worn out. Long day, she said. I didn't answer, just reached for the remote, turned up the volume. She leaned into me. You okay? Fine. I didn't flinch when she rested her head on my shoulder. I didn't move when she sighed and whispered, Love you. I just stared straight ahead. Let her think she still had the upper hand. Let her feel comfortable. Because now I had everything I needed. Next stop, Chattanooga. She brought it up over breakfast like it was nothing. Don't forget I'll be in Chattanooga next weekend, she said, dumping creamer into her coffee. We've got 3 site walkthroughs lined up. New installs, all commercial. I chewed my eggs, nodded slow. That's Thursday through Sunday? Yup. Should be back late Sunday night. She sipped. Assuming things run smooth. I kept my eyes down, pretending to scroll my phone. I might be gone too, I said. Seminar in Charleston. Industry guys. Kind of a last-minute thing. She looked up for half a second. Oh, that's good. Good for your networking. No questions. No curiosity. Just relief clear as day. She thought she had the weekend wide open. I'd already borrowed my cousin's old Chevy Malibu. Tinted windows, no bumper stickers, generic enough to blend in anywhere. I told Kara I was leaving Thursday morning. Packed a fake overnight bag. Left my truck in long-term parking at the outlet mall and hit the road east. She left town at 10:14 a.m. Took I-24 straight toward Chattanooga. I followed 4 cars behind, never close enough to spook her. She wasn't watching her mirrors anyway. 2 hours later, she pulled into the lot of the Golden Lantern Lodge, a boutique-style spot tucked just outside downtown. Real cozy vibe, stone front, hanging baskets, couples sipping wine on Adirondack chairs. She checked in alone, duffel bag slung over her shoulder. No landscaping samples, no company vehicle. Zane showed up 40 minutes later. Different car, separate check-in. But they ended up in the same cabin. Unit 6, end of the row. They didn't leave the room until dinner. I followed them to a farm-to-table spot across town. Watched them clink glasses over candlelight. She wore a denim jacket I hadn't seen before. He leaned across the table, brushed hair from her cheek, and mouthed something that made her laugh so hard she covered her face. I got every moment on camera from my booth by the bar. The server glanced at me once, probably wondering if I'd been stood up. I didn't care. Saturday, they went kayaking along the river. I stayed on foot, shot from the bridge with a long lens Rick lent me. Later, they walked the riverwalk hand in hand, stopped for coffee, kissed like teenagers near the water's edge. By Sunday morning, I didn't need any more proof. But I got it anyway. They were walking through a public park, early light cutting through the trees, holding to-go cups and sharing some stupid cinnamon roll. At one point, she stopped, leaned into him, and kissed him full on the mouth. Slow. No shame. Same mouth she used to tell me she loved me. I didn't feel anything in that moment. No heartbreak. No stomach drop. Just clarity. Like somebody finally wiped the fog off a mirror. I drove to the nearest parking lot, pulled out my phone, and typed in Diana Baldwin family law. She was a name I'd gotten through a guy at the bar who'd gone through something similar. Receptionist picked up on the second ring. Baldwin family law. How can we help you? I need to schedule a consult, I said. Are you looking for divorce representation? Yes. She gave me a Tuesday slot. I said I'd be there. Back on the road, I kept the speed steady, eyes straight ahead. Kara thought she'd built some secret little world in Chattanooga. I was about to rip the roof off it. Kara walked through the door Sunday night around 9:30. Hair up, suitcase rolling behind her like she just flew in from a corporate retreat. Hey, babe, she called out, dropping her keys in the bowl by the door. I'm wiped. Those installs were nonstop. I looked up from the couch, kept my face still. Long trip. God, yes, she said, kicking off her shoes. Clients kept changing specs mid-walkthrough. I barely slept. I nodded. Hope they appreciated the work. She smiled like I was some sweet, clueless husband. They did. Big things coming if this deal sticks. I stood, gave her space to walk by. She didn't notice I didn't hug her, didn't kiss her. She was too busy faking yawns and stretching like she'd spent the weekend digging trenches. Not kissing Zane by the river. Monday morning, I drove to Diana Baldwin's office in the strip plaza across from the high school. Clean setup. No frills. Just her name stenciled on the door and a bowl of mints that tasted like chalk. She brought me into a side room and shut the door. You brought documentation? She asked. I slid the manila folder across the table. Everything you'll need. Screenshots, GPS logs, bank statements, surveillance photos. Even the side talk thread. She flipped through it, stopping at the kayak photo. This is your wife? Yep. Kara Grant. The man's Zane Hughes. Confirmed, he works for a competitor. She kept flipping. This is more than enough. You want a file based on adultery? Yes. We can file and serve by Friday. Clean. Controlled. You want it at work or at home? Home. Friday night. Diana nodded. You'll need to be present when it's served. Sheriff's deputy can come to the house. No need, I said. I'll hand it to her myself. She glanced at me, checking my tone. I must have passed whatever internal test she had, because she didn't argue. The rest of the week, I acted normal. Every night, Kara came home with a different story. A crew that didn't show. A supplier who shorted her order. A meeting that went off the rails. None of it was real. She was spinning fairy tales, and I just sat there nodding, smiling, cooking dinner like her loyal fool. But inside, I was stone. Friday came. She texted me around 5:30, "Be home soon, stopping at Target real quick." I walked into the kitchen and pulled the envelope out of the drawer. Her name printed in bold across the front. Set it dead center on the counter. Turned off the stove. Wiped my hands on the towel. Then I sat down at the table and waited. The door opened at 6:41 p.m. Kara walked in carrying a Target bag and humming like she hadn't shattered the life we built. She kicked off her flats, turned toward the kitchen, and froze. The envelope sat there, dead center on the counter like a loaded gun. She didn't move. I stood up from the table, slow, steady. "Go ahead. Open it." She looked at me, then back at the envelope. Her hand shook just slightly when she picked it up. She read the front. She didn't open it. "What is this?" she asked. "You know exactly what it is." Her throat worked, swallowing hard. "Ethan, I know about Zane," I said, cutting her off. "I know about the lodge, the restaurants, the kayaking trip, the bracelet you bought him, K and Z. I know it all." She blinked. Her mouth opened, then closed. "You've been lying to my face for months," I said. "And I've let you. But we're done with that now." Her eyes filled fast. "It's not what you think." "Stop." She flinched. "I've got photos, receipts, timestamps, screenshots. You don't get to play dumb." She put the bag down and gripped the edge of the counter. Okay, just, can we talk about this, please?" "We're talking." Her voice cracked. "I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did. I was lonely, Ethan. You were always working, always tired. I didn't feel seen." I stared at her, not saying a word. She stepped closer. He was just there. At first it wasn't even serious. It was just physical. "That supposed to make it better?" I asked. She started crying. "No. God, I messed up. Okay? I know I did. But I love you. I still love you. You don't do this to someone you love." Her hands trembled now. She reached for me. "Can we fix this? Please. I'll stop. I'll end it. We'll go to counseling." "No." She froze. "You need to pack a bag. You're not staying here tonight." "But I don't have anywhere." "Your brother's 20 minutes away. Figure it out." She covered her mouth, took a few shaky steps back like the room had tilted. "You're really doing this?" "I already did." She stood there for a long second, then turned and walked upstairs without another word. I heard drawers opening, hangers sliding, zippers. When she came back down 20 minutes later, she had a duffel bag slung over one shoulder. Hair pulled back, face blotchy and red. At the door, she paused. "Are you gonna tell people?" I looked at her. "I won't lie." She swallowed again. "But you won't." "I won't humiliate you." She nodded. "Thank you." I didn't say anything back. She walked out, closed the door behind her, and I locked it. The papers came through 3 weeks later. Finalized. Stamped. Done. I kept the house. Didn't fight dirty, didn't bleed her out. We split the rest straight down the line, bank accounts, furniture, the boat we barely used. Clean. Quiet. A few days after that, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Just said, "I don't know you, but thank you. What you sent helped in court. My kids are safe. Lila, Zane's ex-wife." I stared at it for a minute, then deleted it. Not because it didn't matter, but because it finally hit me how far the damage reached. It wasn't just my marriage. I saw Kara once after that. Gas station off Route 12. She was walking out with a bottled tea and a bag of chips. Hair pulled back tight, eyes sunken. She looked older, worn out in a way I couldn't explain. Like all that fire she used to carry burned up and left nothing but smoke. She saw me. I looked right through her. Didn't stop. Didn't wave. Didn't owe her a damn thing. Back home, I started making small changes. New paint in the hallway. Different bedding. Took down all the framed photos that used to mean something and boxed them up for donation. One Friday night, I invited a few guys over, grilled steaks, played darts, drank too much. Nobody asked questions. Nobody brought her up. They didn't have to. I opened a dating app the next morning. Not because I was dying to meet someone, but just to feel like I could again. I wasn't ready. Not completely. But I wasn't haunted either. Looking back, the affair wasn't even the worst part. It was the lying. The months of being fed scraps while she built a life somewhere else. That mess eats at you in ways you don't see right away. But standing on my patio that weekend, flipping burgers while music played low from the kitchen, I felt something solid again. Peace. Not loud. Not showy. Just real. My phone buzzed. Game tonight at Jason's. You in? I grabbed my keys and didn't even hesitate. Walked out the door and left the past sitting right where it belonged.